Have you ever stared at your phone in the middle of the night, waiting for a call you know is never going to come? It was 3:13 a.m. I know the time because the numbers on my alarm clock felt like they were burning into my retinas. The house was dead quiet. The kind of quiet where you can hear the house settling, the wood groaning under the weight of the dark. Then my phone vibrated. It didn't ring. It just let out one long, continuous vibration that didn't stop. I picked it up. The screen didn't show a number. It didn't even say unknown caller or restricted. The screen was just blank, white static. I shouldn't have slid my thumb across the glass. Every instinct I had, the primal, lizard brain part of you that tells you to run when the basement light flickers, was screaming at me to throw the phone across the room. But I didn't. I pressed it to my ear, and for the first 10 seconds, there was nothing. Just the sound of a vast, empty space. Like holding a seashell to your ear if the ocean was dead. Then a voice spoke. It didn't sound like a person. It sounded like a choir of people all trying to whisper the exact same word at the exact same time through a throat full of wet sand. It whispered my childhood nickname, a name only my mother called me. And my mother has been buried in the ground for 5 years. I couldn't move. My muscles turned to lead. The bedroom suddenly felt 20 degrees colder. I tried to pull the phone away from my face, but my hand wouldn't obey. It was like the device was glued to my skin, drawing the warmth straight out of my cheek. Who is this? I managed to choke out. My own voice sounded small, pathetic, swallowed up by the darkness of the room. The static on the other end flared. T sounded like tearing paper. We are under the floorboards, the choir whispered. We are behind the wallpaper. You left the back door unlocked, Julian. My heart stopped. My name is Julian. But the second detail was what broke me. I always lock the back door. It's an obsession of mine. I check it 3 times every single night before I go to bed. But tonight, I had been so tired, so completely drained from working the late shift. Had I forgotten? Holding the phone to my ear, I slowly slid my legs out of bed. The floorboards felt ice cold against my bare feet. Step by step, I crept out of my bedroom and into the hallway. The house felt foreign, like I was trespassing in a place that used to belong to me, but had been claimed by something else while I was asleep. The voice on the phone didn't speak again, but it didn't hang up either. I could hear it breathing. It was a wet, ragged sound. Every 3 seconds, there was a faint, metallic click, like teeth tapping together. I reached the top of the stairs. I looked down into the living room. The curtains were open, letting the pale, sickly moonlight cut across the hardwood floor. At the far end of the room, the kitchen door leading to the backyard was wide open. It was swinging gently on its hinges, letting the cold night wind howl into the house. And standing right in the center of the moonlight, facing away from me, was a shape. It was too tall. Its shoulders were narrow, hunched forward, and its arms hung down past its knees. It was wearing a coat that looked like it had been dragged through mud and ash. I pressed my back against the hallway wall, hiding in the shadows, praying to God it hadn't heard my footsteps. The phone was still pressed to my ear. The wet breathing on the line suddenly stopped. The click of the teeth stopped. The choir of voices spoke again, right into my eardrum, so loud it made my head throb. Turn around. My body moved before my brain could stop it. I spun around. The hallway behind me was empty. But as I stared into the dark, I realized the sound wasn't coming from the phone anymore. The wet, ragged breathing was echoing from inside my own bedroom. The thing in the kitchen had been a distraction. It was a decoy. Whatever had called me was already upstairs. It was standing right next to the bed I had just crawled out of. I dropped the phone. It clattered loudly against the floorboards. In the quiet of the house, the sound was like a gunshot. Downstairs, I heard the tall shape in the moonlight instantly snap its head toward the stairs. I heard the frantic, heavy thud of bare, heavy feet beginning to sprint up the wooden steps toward me. I was trapped. A monster rushing up from below, and something unspeakable waiting for me in my own bedroom. I didn't think. I just dove into the bathroom across the hall, slammed the heavy oak door shut, and threw the deadbolt. A second later, something slammed into the outside of the door with the force of a speeding car. The wood groaned. The frame splintered. I threw my entire body weight against the door, crying, screaming, begging for whoever or whatever it was to leave me alone. Long, sharp nails began to rake against the outside of the wood. Then, my dropped phone, lying out in the hallway, began to broadcast the voice on speakerphone. The volume was maxed out, distorting the tiny speaker. "You can't lock us out, Julian. We built the house. We live in the spaces between your breaths. Open the door. Let us see how much you've grown." The slamming stopped. The scratching stopped. Suddenly, a terrible realization washed over me. The bathroom didn't have any windows. It was a dead end. And then, I heard a faint sound coming from directly beneath my feet. From inside the dark bathroom cabinet beneath the sink. The door was slowly, agonizingly clicking open from the inside. They found me the next morning. My neighbor noticed the back door swinging wide open and called the police. The cops found me locked inside the bathroom. I was curled into a fetal position in the dry bathtub, my fingernails bloody from clawing at the porcelain. They said I was catatonic. I didn't speak for 3 weeks. The police investigated the house. They found the back door lock had been broken from the inside. They found deep scratch marks on the bathroom door. But the weirdest part? They found my phone. They checked the call logs to see who had been harassing me in the middle of the night. The log was completely clean. No incoming calls at 3:13 a.m. No data usage. Nothing. I live in an apartment now. High up. No basement, no floorboards, no yard. But every single night, when the clock strikes 3:13 a.m., my phone screen lights up. It doesn't vibrate. It doesn't make a sound. It just shows a blank, white screen of static. And sometimes, if the room is quiet enough, I can hear a faint, wet tapping sound coming from inside my walls. Lock your doors tonight. And if a number you don't recognize calls you in the dark, just let it ring. Thanks for watching. Stay curious. I'll see you next time. Peace.